Welcome back to another video. This time we are going to talk about the metaverse and gaming. And the metaverse obviously has not launched yet, officially, I guess you could say, because really what the metaverse would be like is a cyberspace world where people are interacting with each other inside the metaverse virtually, right? Remotely. So we haven't reached that point yet. Still, it's building toward that. But I do want to talk about how gaming is going to be like inside the metaverse. All right. Because right now we got a whole bunch of things going on with gaming. We got a whole bunch of games coming out. We got supply shortages of the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. But I do want to talk about is how gaming is going to be like inside the metaverse. Now, I don't know if Xbox is going to join this, if PlayStation is going to join this. Who knows? But I'm pretty sure they will, since they are the kings of gaming right now, besides, with the exception of Nintendo too. But I want to talk about how it's going to be like when we actually play games inside the metaverse. So, of course, what is the metaverse? Well, it's just where people socialize and interact with each other inside a virtual world, right? So, how is gaming going to be like? I remember back, I want to bring back the 90s and how we played games together, right? What games do when we were younger? Well, when I was younger, of course, people in their 20s or 20 below wouldn't know this because they were born after the 2000. But people that were born more, I say, maybe in the 80s, maybe late 80s, early 90s, right? Probably remember gaming in the 90s. What we used to do, we used to come together at somebody's house and we will play games together, right? And the Nintendo 64 launched around, when was it, 1996, I think, if I remember right. And that had 4 ports for controllers. That means you could play, 4 players could play on one system. That wasn't a thing with the PlayStation, only had 2. What else was there? There was Sega Saturn, Sega Genesis, Nintendo. Those were all during the 90s. Or Super Nintendo, more like it, and Sega Genesis. But they only had 2 ports for 2 controllers. Only 2 people could play on one system. But when Nintendo 64 came out, they had 4 ports where you could plug in 4 controllers to one system. And what that do? That brought us together. We all went over to somebody's house, whoever had a Nintendo. And we sat there, plugged our controllers in, and we played games pretty much until we couldn't play no more, right? Until we fell asleep. Like, that's the only thing that would stop us, that we got too tired to stay awake, that we had to shut it off. So I think what's going to happen with the metaverse and gaming is that it's going to be something similar, but we're not going to plug in controllers, obviously, because we'll already be inside the game. What I believe, and this is a prediction, this is what I'm thinking, how things are going to go. All right. First of all, like, we already have virtual reality, right? And that's a pretty amazing. Play games and it feels like you're exactly inside the world. I have never played a full-fledged game yet inside virtual VR, but I have tried tech demos and I find it to be very fascinating. But I think once the metaverse become an official thing where people are actually putting on goggles and we're all meeting up in the virtual world, virtual room, and we're talking, interacting with each other, looking at each other, however we like to describe our character, because you're obviously going to make a character, an avatar, right? That represents you. I think when the games come around, because this thing's going to evolve, right? Once it launches officially, it's going to evolve. As more people put their opinions on it, as more people start to experience it, it's going to mold and sculpt in ways that we couldn't imagine before, right? Now, I'm not trying to, promote the metaverse. I still think there's going to be problems. But when it comes to gaming, I think it's going to definitely take a different direction in how we communicate and interact with one another. We'll be able to play games, with 100 people, like, what's it called? like the what's it called? I can't remember what it's called, but like Fortnite, where everybody join. Oh, battle royale. That's what I was looking for. It's gonna be like battle royale, right? Where there's 100 people or whatever plus joining inside one game, right? And there might even be more, and it might be, they might make it up to 200, 300, who knows? But I feel like, that's really going to change the way we really play games. Like, I think the way of like having a controller in our hands and playing, that might turn into something different. I don't know. I think because if you're going to be inside a game, how, you sit in there with the goggles on and maybe with like the Oculus, you got the two controllers, or even with the PSVR 2 that's coming out soon. If you got the two controllers in your hand, what are you going to do? You're going to play, of course, you're going to interact, but then there's going to be times where you're not going to be able to do like exactly what you want to do inside the metaverse. You know what I mean? It's not, for instance, if you want to, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a good example. Maybe if you want to play a football game, right? You really want to like try to run, across the field, but it's not going to feel like that if you're just moving the joysticks forward. You really want to feel like you're inside, the football field. You want to feel like you're really running. So how are you going to do that? Well, there might be something that might be extra, maybe like a running pad or something. I don't know. I'm just thinking of crazy things, but maybe a running pad, right? Maybe there will be sensors attached to your body that kind of, if you get tackled a certain way, maybe you'll feel that impact on whatever the sensor at directed to your body, right? So I think the way we're going to like control the game, it's going to be way different. I feel like it's going to evolve. I feel like the controllers won't exist no more. I feel like, they'll still be there, but not for the metaverse, right? So it's going to evolve the way we, experience gaming big time. Because even the metaverse itself is going to be different, right? And we all got to prepare for that. And I'm looking forward to it. I've always wondered how that would be like. As a kid, watching a lot of sci-fi movies, we saw that, right? We saw like this future that could be possible, right? It was no guarantee. We don't know how the future is going to be. We don't know how the future is going to be now. We don't know how the future is going to look like in 2040, 2050, 2060, and beyond, right? We can only guess and predict. And that's what I'm doing with the metaverse and gaming. I feel like it's going to do what the 90s did physically. And that's going to bring us all back together inside one room, interacting, talking, and make it feel like we're really inside a room physically, right? So that's what I want to say about the metaverse and the gaming, how it's going to change and kind of bring back the feel of the 90s that I dearly miss, because that's my childhood, right? And like, the 90s were great when it came to gaming. Those were golden times, memorable times I will never forget, and I hold dear to my heart. So, but if you enjoyed the video I just created, please hit that like button. If you haven't already, smash the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, select all notifications. That way you won't miss a single upload I put on my YouTube throughout the year. All right, thank you. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this topic was probably interesting to you. That's what I'm hoping. If not, it's all good. Until then, I will see you guys on the next video. Peace.